Avinu Malkeinu, one of the most well-known prayers from our High Holiday liturgy, ends with this petition to God. Aseh imanu tzedakah v'chesed, which is often translated as, deal with us charitably and with kindness. The two requests, tzedakah and chesed, defy easy translation. They do not perfectly match the English words charity and kindness. Considering the number of times that we sing Avinu Malkeinu over the course of Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, I think it is important to unpack these two words so we know just what we're asking for. It will also be important to ask how we can be the agents of tzedakah and chesed that are critically needed today. First, what is tzedakah? In order to understand Hebrew words, we look at their root letters. The root of tzedakah is sadi, daled, kuf, and its core meaning is that which is right or just. So, to do tzedakah is to make things right. This is a religious obligation, a mitzvah, which is not optional and should not be dependent on us feeling good about doing it, although we often do. This is different from the English word charity, which is usually seen as voluntary. Whether we do acts of tzedakah by giving money, attention, or time to causes or people, the goal is to right a wrong that exists in our world. For example, it's not right that some people in our community suffer from poverty when others have much more than they need. It's not justice when some people enjoy privileges based on their race, gender, or sexual preference, and others are kept down by systems that exist to limit their opportunities because of who they are. It does not make sense that some people get a virus and experience very mild symptoms, while others get hospitalized, or worse. Our world is full of injustices, and our job as Jews is to fight them. Now, what is chesed? Chesed is probably best understood through the example of biblical Rebekah, who gave water to Abraham's servant. She was under no obligation to give water to his camels as well. Indeed, he did not even ask her to do so. Rebekah helped the camels because of her kindness and generosity. That is chesed, an act of kindness that shows love and concern for others by going above and beyond that which is expected or deserved. The servant had no reason to expect her to water the camels, so this made it a real demonstration of her chesed. On a personal level, I usually associate chesed with the act of bringing food to a family who had just had a baby or experienced a loss. These chesed meals are not specific religious obligations that we must do in order to fulfill any particular mitzvah. When my mother passed away, for example, no one owed us a meal. However, the feelings of love and being cared for that came over us when we received some meals and even a simple arrangement of fruit was deeply felt and appreciated. As good as it feels to receive an act of chesed, it also feels good to do acts of chesed because we voluntarily do them for individuals whom we know personally. So what is the key difference between tzedakah and chesed? While related, tzedakah and chesed have some key differences that separate them enough that both need to be mentioned in Avinu Malkeinu. We ask God for both of them. First, tzedakah is obligatory, while chesed is voluntary. Also, tzedakah can be anonymous. It's considered better when the identities of the giver and receiver are unknown. But chesed is almost always personally done for someone with whom we feel a connection. Perhaps the most significant differences between tzedakah and chesed have to do with when and why we do them. Tzedakah seems to be more for systems or realities that are fundamentally unjust and negatively affect many people. Systemic racism, poverty, and disease come to mind. Chesed is usually situational and is applied to individuals or small groups of people for a specific event or moment in time. Once a family is able to take care of their basic needs after the birth of a child and more easily cook for themselves, they no longer need chesed meals. When we ask God for tzedakah, we're asking for God to break down the systems of injustice that negatively impact our community and the world. When we ask for chesed, we're asking for a more personal favor, an act of kindness that shows we are thought of and cared for in our current time of need. What is our role? The Unatana Tokef prayer lists a number of examples of injustice in the form of tragedies that seem to have no reason why they should befall one person but not another. The prayer ends with 3 tools for how we can deal with the injustice of these tragedies. Repentance, prayer, and tzedakah make the chaos a little easier to deal with. In my lifetime, 2020 has felt like the year that has been the most difficult to deal with, the most chaotic, and the one in which we are most in need of tzedakah. 2020 has also been a year that has challenged what it means to be in community together. When we can't hug one another, when we can't even be in the same room with one another, can we really feel the bonds that hold us together? This is where chesed is needed. Small situational deeds can fortify our relationships and reinforce the feelings that we're cared for by one another. But of course, not one single act of tzedakah or chesed will happen without us getting up and doing them ourselves. Both this particularly difficult time in history and our Jewish values compel us, demand us to act. We are the ones who need to fight racial injustice and the systems that keep women, LGBTQ folks, and other minorities from fulfilling their dreams. We are the ones who need to stop the spread of coronavirus and support those in our community who are unfairly and disproportionately impacted by the economic fallout. We are the ones who need to reach out to our community members who are lonely and in desperate need of comfort and a reminder that they belong to something larger than just themselves. To conclude, the last line of Avinu Malkeinu is usually understood as us asking God to do tzedakah and chesed for us. It's possible, however, to translate the word imanu as together with us. This year and every year, until we finally achieve a world of perfection and peace, let us focus on our role in this divine partnership. May the coming year be better and a bit sweeter for all of us as a result.